Hey y'all, Coach in the Fight here, and in today's video, we're going to be explaining Enoch's 30th day. Now, if you're like me, you've been trying to figure out a lot of these passages from Enoch, understanding that they are 100% accurate. It's just that our understanding has to catch up with it. We've been struggling a long time, but I think we're finally getting a grasp on this 30th day and how to actually use it. The key being that we start counting backwards. That's not really counterintuitive when you read the scripture, but as you can see here, I've been doing a lot of things trying to prove Enoch's 30 days, and I think the key to it is starting from when we actually see the new moon there in the evening, and then start counting back to the 30th day. That's the way we need to understand it. But here, let me allow this computer to help me explain it.
A formal explanation of the 30th day and the new moon in the Book of Enoch. 1. The structure of the day in Enoch. Sunset as the boundary. The Book of Enoch presents a cosmology in which the day does not begin at midnight or at sunrise, but at sunset. Throughout the astronomical book Enoch 72-82, the transitions of days and months are described with reference to the sun's setting and rising, making sunset the moment when a new day begins. Thus, Day 30 ends at sunset. Immediately at that sunset, day 1 begins. This sunset to sunset structure is the same system seen throughout the Hebrew scriptures. Genesis 1, evening and morning, and it is the timekeeping framework assumed in Enoch's lunar descriptions. 2. The beginning of the month. The first visible crescent. Enoch, like ancient Hebrew practice, defines the beginning of a month by the appearance of the moon, not by its invisible conjunction. The new month begins, not when the moon is completely unseen, but when the first visible crescent reappears in the western sky just after sunset. This appearance is necessarily in the evening after the sun has set at the very beginning of a new day. Therefore, the sighting of the new crescent and the beginning of day 1 are synchronized. The crescent appears at the precise moment a new biblical day begins. 30 days with the sun? What Enoch actually means. Enoch frequently states that the moon completes 30 days with the sun, e.g., Enoch 73:3-4. This statement is often misunderstood. Enoch is not claiming that the astronomical lunation is exactly 30 days. Modern measurements show that the synodic month is 29.2 to 29.8 days long, average 29.53. Enoch's meaning is, the ideal month used for timekeeping consists of 30 days, but the observable cycle of the moon completes itself within those 30 days. In other words, the ancient calendar kept a fixed 30-day counting structure, while the moon itself completed its cycle shortly before the end of that structure, in the last hours of day 30. The 30th day functions as a buffer that absorbs the difference between the idealized month and the true astronomical cycle. The astronomical key. Counting backwards from the crescent. If a new crescent is sighted at sunset on day 1, and you count backwards the true lunar cycle length, 29.2, 29.8 days earlier, you always land inside day 30 of the previous month. This is the crucial alignment Enoch preserves. 1. Day 30 reaches its end at sunset. 2. At that sunset, the crescent becomes visible. 3. That sunset simultaneously begins day 1 of the next month. This makes the appearance of the new moon coincide exactly with the transition between the end of the old month and the beginning of the new one. Thus, Enoch's 30-day count does not contradict, distort, or conflict with real lunar motion. Number 5. Why modern readers get confused. People unfamiliar with a sunset-based day assume that if the moon's cycle is shorter than 30 days, it must break a 30-day calendar. But in Enoch's system, the day doesn't begin at midnight. The crescent doesn't appear in the morning. The moon is always visible right after sunset, which is the boundary between days. Because the real lunation always lands in the final hours of day 30, the new moon always becomes visible just as day 1 is beginning. Therefore, the month stays cleanly aligned. The 30-day structure remains intact. The crescent always marks both a new day and a new month. Number 6. The system in summary. 1. Day ends at sunset. 2. Day 1 begins at the sunset of the crescent. 3. The real lunation is 29.2 to 29.8 days long. 4. This always places the conjunction and dark moon inside day 30. 5. The crescent appears at the sunset that begins day 1. 6. Thus, Enoch's 30 days is a structured month, not a claim of exact lunar period. Final summary. Even though the true lunar synodic cycle is slightly shorter than 30 days, Enoch's calendar remains perfectly functional because the day begins at sunset, the new month begins with a visible crescent, the crescent appears at the sunset that begins day 1, and the 30th day serves as a natural buffer. This is why the Book of Enoch can speak of the moon completing 30 days with the sun, without contradicting observation or modern astronomy. The moon completes its cycle within the 30-day framework, and the visible crescent always appears at the threshold between day 30 and day 1, ensuring perfect alignment between observed lunar motion and the structure of the sacred calendar.
All right, so I think that was a fair explanation. I think we can understand how the 30th day works from that explanation, but let me add a little bit more to it. Again, I've been doing a lot of things to try to prove these, including looking at the sighting of the recent new moons and then counting back to the 30th day to see if it matches up. What I learned there is that if there are two dark moons, for instance, if there's a new moon followed by a dark moon, we see those as 2 0% moons. It is the second one that Enoch was talking about, not necessarily the one as man counts as the new moon. So that's important. The dark moon, what they call it. But another thing I did to prove it was simply putting in the lunations. I started putting in the new moons two different ways. One is if the 0% moon showed up in the evening time, and one if the 0% moon showed up in the morning time. And then looking forward to the new moon, when it actually appears, and you see how it works. Because the new moon is never seen in the morning, you get a 1-day difference in 1 month. But then in the next month, you see it catches up. But one thing that should jump out is that every time there is a new moon, the day before that new moon is actually seen is the 30th day. Of course, 29.5 rounds up to 30. And then this dark moon, that's when the moon would have started to appear in the morning time. So that blackness would represent the dark moon, showing that the new moon would only appear in that evening time. And so again, you see that no matter what, when we go through and look at it that way, the starting on a day before it actually appears, it is actually always the 30th day, always the 30th day. But anyway, y'all let me know what you understand down in the comment section if you got anything to add to the discussion, and I'll see you down there. Shalom.